you know how much it costs.
the scene, the site for the opening round of this car's NASCAR Whelen Euro Series season. The EuroNASCAR Pro qualifying just a few minutes away, and EuroNASCAR 2 will follow thereafter. You see there this 14th, 15th of May weekend. It's eagerly looked forward to here in Valencia. It's a rabid fan base that follows the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series here in Spain. It's always a very popular event, and hopefully we're going to get some good attendance here with the global situation being a bit more allowing of spectators, mass gatherings, and the like. You see there this fabulous looking circuit. Some fairly decent temperatures out there at the moment. It will only get warmer as the weekend goes on. There you see some of the scenes in the pit lane as we get used, or as we get ready to go racing for the first time this weekend. We get ready for qualifying within the next few minutes. If you are unfamiliar, the qualifying for the EuroNASCAR Pro category is split into two sessions, a 15-minute qualifying session, and then the fastest of the fastest get one last opportunity to go out onto the circuit for a 5-minute super pole, a 20-minute qualifying session for the EuroNASCAR 2, and there you see the race distances as well. The 75-kilometer EuroNASCAR Pro races, the 60-kilometer EuroNASCAR 2 races. So a little bit longer in the seat for those doing EuroNASCAR Pro. Some are doing double duty, racing in both series, so we'll have to see whether that extra mileage is a help or a hindrance when we go racing. You also have a few different elements at play in this category during the sessions. You've got the Junior and Challenger Trophy within EuroNASCAR Pro. And then also in the EuroNASCAR 2, you've got 3 different trophies included. The Rookie Trophy, the Ladies Trophy, and the Legend Trophy for good measure. And as you can see, the EuroNASCAR Pro category for the pros, semi-pros, and the fastest elite amateur drivers. And there you see the rather breathtaking mural that is there from last year's MotoGP season finale. And I'm sure that Valentino Rossi mural will exist for many years to come here at the circuit. Rossi, of course, now taking in his own four-wheeled racing endeavours. Maybe one day we'll see him in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, but we've got a fabulous grid of drivers, particularly here in Pro this year, returning drivers and new faces. One of the ones who we're particularly interested to keep an eye on is Lucas Löhr from Racing Fuel Motorsport. Lucas with a huge back catalogue of success in GT racing, and before that in the Porsche Carrera Cup as well. An FIA GT1 world champion, a double class winner at the Le Mans 24 Hours, 5-time class winner at the N24, the Nürburgring 24, a 6-time class champion at the American Le Mans Series. His accolades could go on all broadcast if we wish to. Let's take a look then at the circuit we are using here today, just outside Valencia itself, the Circuito Ricardo Tormo, just over 4 kilometers, as you can see there on the top right of screen. It's a fairly compact circuit as well. There's not that much landmass taken up by the track, or it's 14 corners. Expect some overtaking at turn 1 and 2 in particular, 2 very good braking zones, and I'd suspect turn 14 as well, if someone can get a good run through the long sweeping right-handers that come before. Of course, here in qualifying, it's more about getting the optimum temperature into these Hoosier tyres and finding the fastest lap time you possibly can. It's always interesting to see that we have the returning faces back, the likes of Gianmarco Ercoli, who was the runner-up last year in Pro. He'll be looking to go one step better this year. Our 2020 champion, as well as, of course, 2017 and 2018 champion Alan Day. Will be keeping an eye on him, I am sure. And then you've got the Goose, Mark Goosens, the number 14 Speedhouse entry. There's another driver with a huge back catalogue of success to his name. Martin Dubeck, last year's 2021 EuroNASCAR 2 champion, has basically been involved with EuroNASCAR as long as he's been racing cars. And we expect him to be well up there in this EuroNASCAR Pro qualifying session. Of course, these cars, as you can see on the side of the car there momentarily, these cars are shared, so it's not separate chassis used for EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. They do use the same chassis in each race, and that does mean there's a little bit of added interest for certain to make sure that everyone keeps their cars straight, narrow and clean. And I think we're just having a look there at Lucas Le. And Lucas will be making his debut in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Another chapter potentially in what's been a great career for him so far. I think he finished just outside the top 10 in the combined free practice 1 and 2 results from yesterday. We see there the PK Car Sport entry, Alan Day, 3-time champion in EuroNASCAR. Also had a very good showing back in 2016 in the Xfinity Series, the American second division of NASCAR. Took 13th place at Mid-Ohio back in 2016. One of many drivers who's made the jump across the Atlantic from Europe to America and showed the drivers here are every bit as fast at the wheel of the stock cars as the American competitors. Of course, we see that more and more. The pipeline across the Atlantic in NASCAR competition grows ever stronger. One driver I am interested to see is young Thomas Krasanis. He is one of a few drivers to move up to EuroNASCAR Pro for the first time this weekend. He'll be driving the number 1 car for Alex Caffey Academy Motorsports, and he is a driver who's basically come up from the UK in the Junior Saloon Car Championship. Now, that was a category primarily running Citroen Saxos. He's running something a bit more intense these days. Had a solid 2021 in EuroNASCAR 2 and now steps up to Pro for the first time this weekend. And just hearing a little bit of word from the pit lane. Most of the pit boxes are quiet, apart from PK Car Sport. Their choice of soundtrack this morning, Rammstein. So they've got a certain vibe going on in the pit box, that much is for certain. My playlist pre-race is a bit more mellow and tranquil, but then again, I'm not driving, so perhaps that's for the best. You see the soundtrack being appreciated. There is the number 14 car. That is Mark Goosen's machine. The Goose will be loose on the circuit in just a few moments. We've got less than 4 minutes before this session awakens, before we go green for the first time live in the 2022 season. For 15 minutes of qualifying, Alan Day will be, of course, right up there. And who's this we have given the thumbs up there? That's the number 27 car, and a bit of a wave there. I believe that's actually, I don't have the 27 on my list, so I've clearly missed somebody there. I think that might be one of the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers, actually. I have only the pro sheet up at the moment. 3 minutes to go before the session begins. And And we'll have to see who's got the car nailed from free practice. Of course, the point of free practice is to try and get the cars to cooperate with the driver as best as possible and go as quick as possible. Alexander Graf, he's a driver with so much experience. He should be one of the ones who knows how to set up a race car. Hugely successful over the course of about 20 years in numerous Scandinavian categories. Joined EuroNASCAR back in 2018. There's been some debate internally, and by internally I mean with myself, as to whether there can even be such thing as a ringer in this series. Of course, if you're familiar with the American Championships, you'll see that sometimes when they head to Sonoma or Watkins Glen or Cota, suddenly some names from road course-based series arrive and they're referred to as ringers. I was debating whether or not that's possible in this series. I'd say that if anyone is a ringer here, it would be Lucas Luhr, a GT1 world champion joining the EuroNASCAR ranks. He surely is going to get quicker and quicker as the season goes on. We take a look at the number 33 car there briefly, and that's Cosmo Barberini's Speedhouse entry. He was a three-time champion in a Bath racing, the modified Fiat 500s, three-time champion there. Then he moved up to TCR, and now he's with us these days in the world of the EuroNASCAR Pro category. You see there the hashtag NASCAR GP ESP for Ethana. Make sure you interact with us. Let us know that you're watching if you are in fact tuning in here this morning. We're down into the final minute before we go green. And sure enough, we are expecting the cars to head out as soon as that green flag waves. And you can see that they're already queuing and getting ready to go. So it won't be long before the session goes green. You see some of the spotters and other personnel watching on from the balcony here at Valencia. You can see pretty much the whole circuit from the top of the pit building. So unlike some other circuits, there is certainly the argument that the spotter is invaluable here. Funny enough, if you had a spotter somewhere like Spa, I think they'd be out of commission about 80% of the time. But here at the Circuito Ricardo Tormo, they should be very useful indeed. 5 seconds till we go green. And with that clock ticked down to 0, it should be just a few moments before the first competitive EuroNASCAR session of the day, or of the season, gets started. And sure enough, they are underway. So the roaring thunder, the rolling thunder of EuroNASCAR back out onto the circuit for the first time in 2022. And let's see what the lap times say. Certainly in free practice yesterday, there were 4 drivers within a tenth at the top of the timing sheets in EuroNASCAR Pro. Alan Day at the top by 0.003 of a second over Tobias Dauenhauer. Gianmarco Ercoli and Nicolo Rocca were also within a tenth. So 4 drivers within a tenth coming into this session. I'm expecting a hard-fought and close run qualifying. I think I'm probably justified in doing so too. You see burbling out onto the circuit some of the stragglers who weren't quite ready to go at the point of green flag, but a majority of the cars and drivers were there waiting at the pit lane for the good to go sign, and we are now good to go. You see the cars circulating through the infield section for the first time. These cars, about 1,200 kilos curb weight, 400 horsepower, small block V8s. Certainly exciting machines to drive, very physical manual machines to drive. You can fully expect to see some of these drivers a little bit spent, especially if it gets a little warmer as the day goes on. We go racing and it's well into the 20s here in Spain. And I think we're going to have some sweaty drivers. So the first flying laps about to get underway. There's the 54 car. And that is Gianmarco Ercole. So Ercole, the 2015 Elite 2 champion in EuroNASCAR. Graduated almost directly from the world of karting. He did a little bit of junior single-seater racing, but by and large he's focused his energies on the world of EuroNASCAR. He was a runner-up last year in Pro, courtesy of a single win, but 7 podiums. So consistency very much in his repertoire. And we'll see whether or not he can use that to good effect here this weekend in Valencia. And let's see what the one-lap dash is like for Ercole as well. We know he's a strong driver. We know that the CAAL Racing, Cal Racing team are well up there in terms of potential and performance as well. A bit of a pack of cars going on there as they run down the almost back straight. There aren't many straights to speak of outside of the long main pit straight here at Valencia. It's a very technical and demanding circuit. You're always seesawing at the wheel at the best of times. And with these old school machines, these EuroNASCARs, I'm sure it is quite demanding on the driver. You see them using a fair ample bit of curb there as well to try and minimize the route around the corner as best you can. 11:25 left to go. Start to see the first lap times filtering in. Unfortunately, as yet, I don't have a timing screen in my commentary box, but I'm trying to solve that at the moment. We do have the graphics up on screen, though. 24 car of Alan Day turning through the first turn on what should be his second flying lap. And Day, as we said, a 3-time champion, has been one of the main protagonists of the EuroNASCAR paddock for many seasons now. He's a driver that has proven his mettle over in America, as we said, and continues to be one of the big names, one of the big stars of EuroNASCAR. Still just 30 years old as well. He's been around EuroNASCAR for a while. It feels like he's been around a lot longer than that, actually. Back when he was about 21, 22, he also won races in the FIA GT Series, now known as the GT World Challenge Sprint Cup, with Charouz in a Mercedes. Everywhere he's gone, he's typically been right up at the sharp end. There you see Day going towards the final corner, turn 14, I should say. And out onto the long main straight here. Again, expecting lots of exciting overtaking once we get into the racing itself. Turn 1, but turn 2, of course, the main overtaking opportunity. So topping the session at the moment, the driver we saw a little bit earlier on, Gianmarco Ercole, to the top of the timing sheets. And he's also just set a purple first sector out there on circuit, so he's getting quicker and quicker. There we've picked up on Ercole. Gianmarco, the only driver at the moment below the 1 minute 42 barrier with a 1:41.971. About 6 tenths clear of Nicola Rocca. Although I think Coley may have just had his lap time deleted because that's disappeared from the top of my timing screen. That would usually suggest track limits being an issue. Let's see what this time is. Coley back to the top with a 1:41.855. So Coley does go top, but I get the feeling that he might be testing some of the runoff area a little more than is desired by the powers that be. Beautiful looking livery there, the 54 of Gianmarco Coley. Gianmarco for Cal Racing. As we said, 2015 champion in Elite 2. These days plies his trade at the very front of the EuroNASCAR Pro order. And he would be delighted to start off his season with a pole position. We've got a car off there. Is that the number 48 potentially? 36 car. Okay, so 36 is not going to be going any further. That's Vittorio Garelli. It's a huge shame for him, the 2020 EuroNASCAR 2 champion. 5th in Pro last year. Also the 2013 champion in AutoGP. The old junior or feeder series category. Also won by the likes of Romain Grosjean. Garelli certainly a promising driver, someone we're expecting to see well up the order in this session, and unfortunately he's ended up in the gravel. So Coley's still at the top with that 1:41.855. No one else is below the 1:42 barrier at the moment. Patrick Lemary in the number 5 is just over a quarter of a second back on a 1:42.106. Nicola Rocca and Sebastian Blakemolen rounding out the top 4. However, just jumping up to the top with a 1:41.771 is Tobias Dauenhauer. So Tobias moves up to the top in the number 50. Nicola Rocca has also improved in the 56 to go to a 1:41.867. So the lap times are starting to come down. And now it is Tobias Dauenhauer who has set the benchmark. It was between Dauenhauer and Day in free practice for fastest time. It fell to Alan Day by all of 0.03 of a second. You see there on your side of your screen, Day is currently only 12th place and 1.2 seconds off pole. I suspect that that's going to be changed. That's going to be improved upon before the end of the session. Oh, and we got a driver off there in the gravel. We just got a brief look at that. Hearing that Tobias Dauenhauer's father is expecting a top 5 out of him this time in his EuroNASCAR Pro debut. He's been a double runner-up in the EuroNASCAR 2 category. So I'd say it's a safe bet that he'll be up at the sharp end, but I'm sure Tobias was in earshot when that declaration was made. Red flag is out, so red flag waves here. We saw a car go off the circuit down at turn 4, or between 4 and 5, and I assume that's why we've had the red flag out. So that could throw a spanner into the works, couldn't it, for a great many drivers. Clock on the timing screen has been stopped at 4 minutes and 23 seconds. So 3 drivers as of now within a 10th, and there you see the 72 car with a very worse for wear rear end. That's unfortunate for the team, of course, and the driver who's going to get in the car a bit later. Again, shared cars can often mean peril, and Ian Eric Varden the Scandinavian Ferrari champion of years past, a popular TV commentator. We go to green to try and get that final lap in. We also have is that the number 1 car of Thomas Chrysonis? That's a big shame for him if so. We're looking forward to seeing what Chrysonis could do. He's currently 23rd on the timing screen, so he's not had the best run of it in this session anyway, but now the car is being pushed back by the marshals. Just 20 years old, debuting in pro this weekend, and hasn't got off to the best of starts for him. So you see there, the fans, even though it's bright and early, just on 10:15 local time here in Spain, we've already got some good fan presence, and I'm sure that will only grow as we get closer to the races on Saturday and indeed on Sunday. One of the shadows is up at the front. We've got various different body styles. The cars underneath the skin are pretty well identical, but we do have numerous different body styles. We have the kind of generic Team FJ look. We've got the 2 shadows out and about on circuit. We've got Ford Mustangs, Chevy Camaros, Toyota Camrys. Kind of aping what we see in North American NASCAR competition. So many drivers do make the pilgrimage over to the road course races in America, or indeed even the Canadian Pinty Series as well. In fact, one driver in our paddock, Mark Goosens, as well known as he is for his numerous exploits in GT racing and before that in junior single-seaters, he was deployed as a ringer in American NASCAR competition a couple of times in the mid-2000s. Even got himself a top 10 finish. 9th place at the Busch Series race in Mexico back in 2006. They were using the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, the current host of the Mexican Grand Prix, albeit this was before the renovations ahead of that return to Mexico for Formula One back in 2015. Among other things, he's also a winner in Japanese GT Championship, a serial Bell Car winner, and also a winner of the Formula Ford Festival back in 1991 over at Brands Hatch, and he'll be back at Brands Hatch with us next month for the American Speed Fest event, the festivities thrown around the EuroNASCAR round at Brands in June. It's always one of the most exciting and hotly anticipated events held in the United Kingdom, and the allure of EuroNASCAR is the biggest factor in that. So then we are back to green flag conditions. Clock on the pit gantry there said about 4 minutes 40 to go. So we're not too far away from having, well, what, 2 flying laps, I think, best case scenario for these drivers. It's going to be a hard-fought remainder of this session. We just saw there the 18 car of Giorgio Maggi. He's one of the junior class runners as well. He's running for the junior trophy. Another driver who's running for the junior trophy is Tobias Dauenhauer. At the moment, he's at the very top of the order. Of course, this session does not determine the grid, at least not the sharp end. The Super Pole is yet to come. But certainly everyone will be aiming to get into that top dozen for the Super Pole. So they're still on their out laps at the moment. They'll be hoping to get some heat into the Hoosier rubber as quickly as possible. Of course, these days the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series is exclusively run on the road courses, which at least means they don't have to wildly differ setup weekend to weekend. Of course, sometimes, or more often than not, over in the US, they'll have completely different cars for the various different types of circuit. It does very quickly become a very expensive affair. The number 17 car just circulating there is Bernardo Manfredi. Bernardo currently down towards the back of the order. Miscellaneous experience in national Italian competition. Been running his 3rd season in EuroNASCAR, my understanding is. Down about 2.5 minutes to go, so just about everyone should get 2 flying laps, but I don't think anyone will get more than 2. Unless they've had a particularly rapid outlap. Through the first corner goes Giorgio Maggi, 6/10 back from pole position at the moment in 6th place, but should be safe really to get into Super Pole. So while I'm sure he'll try and go quicker, it may not be the end of the world if he doesn't improve upon his current time, which is a 1:42.373. And a bit of a 4-wheel drift there out of turn 5. Car might be a little bit loose. There's the number 8 as well, just leading the 38. So Dario Casso, who was actually pointed out to me by a fellow commentator as someone to watch, a very exuberant racer, is the pre-watershed version of what I was told about Dario. Look forward to seeing how his racing goes later on today. I'm told he's very spectacular indeed. The number 7 car just rounding the final turn. That's Martin Dubeck, who's in 11th place, so he'll be looking to try and improve his time to secure his place in the Super Pole session. Crosses the line on this occasion and does not improve. That was down in the 1:45s actually. Dubeck will be looking to improve in that number 7 car. Dubeck, who is the reigning EuroNASCAR 2 champion, moving up to the big leagues, standing toe-to-toe and shoulder-to-shoulder with some of the fastest stock car drivers in Europe. We reckon, especially as the season goes on, he's going to get to be more and more of a force. Do love some of the toe angles on a stock car. You just look at some of the angles on the suspension from the tyres, you see how different the setup is on a stock car versus a standard road car. A lot more camber and toe implemented onto the cars at times. There's number 7 through turn 11. Across the line then to take the checkered flag comes the pack, and we'll see if there are any late improvements. No one has bested Tobias Dauenhauer's time of a 1:41.771 yet. Will anyone succeed in doing so? Across the line there goes the number 16 car of Claudio Capelli. Is anyone going to improve on this last lap? Yes, Alan Day goes fourth fastest with a 1:42.013. That's a bit more like it from Alan. We've got a little bit of nudging going on there, I think. Oh, and some gesticulating too. Okay. I'm sure that was just, did you get your morning coffee, and nothing more sinister. It's certainly a little bit of discussion to be had then in the pit boxes. There's Alan Day, who has indeed jumped up into the top 5 with a 1:42.013 on the final lap. Also improving, Roman Ionetta got himself up to 9th place in the 46 car. Alexander Graf moved up to a 42.338 with his final lap as well. So a few drivers lowering the bar when they needed to. Always a high pressure situation when there's a cut-off point at play. And especially when there's a red flag, of course, you then potentially on a purple lap, and then suddenly you have to withdraw. There's no choice. And often adversely affects some drivers' qualifyings, but Alan Day, thankfully, managed to set a representative lap at the final moments of the session. Last cars filtering down into pit lane now then. Huge field of 34 cars in this qualifying session, although I believe we didn't see Paolo Maria Silvestrini out there on circuit, but hopefully Paolo in the 25 car can make it out. But even then, a field well exceeding 30 cars. Just getting a little bit of a word there as well from pit lane. Tobias Downhauer, his only strategy is flat out. Well, he is a young racing driver. I can't say I'm very surprised by that. Andre Viegold down in the pit lane, providing me with a little bit of communication in the ear, and I'm sure we'll be seeing and hearing from him throughout the weekend as well. He won't always have to rely on me as a conduit, thankfully. And we will, in just a few moments, get the 5-minute Superpole session underway. Just a little bit of downtime between the two sessions, and still to come as well, of course, we do have the EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying session for good measure. So a select few will be getting ready to go back out onto the circuit. An overwhelming majority being told, no bueno, you're not going back out there on track. You didn't make it into Superpole, but an Elite 12 will be back out there on track. Just about everybody is back into the pit lane. It won't be too long of a turnaround between qualifying and Superpole. Just 5 minutes of Superpole, so effectively that was a good practice run for Superpole. That little red flag that we had mid-qualifying. I believe one of the teams is having to retrieve their driver from the end of pit lane there. Somebody got lost, didn't find their garage. In fact, no, are they just strolling on by? No, they are going to go retrieve the car. Okay, so someone didn't quite find themselves in the right place. No, mate, we're... Just hearing regarding Yevgen Sokolovsky, 48 car from the Challenge Trophy. Had some traffic issues on the circuit, and that caused him some problems, unfortunately. So easy to get lap times deleted, so easy to find traffic at the wrong times. There are a number of pitfalls that can befall you in a short qualifying session of 15 minutes. As for a Superpole session of 5 minutes, well, we're about to find out. In theory, this should be just the fastest of the fastest out there on circuit, but traffic can still come into play, that much is for certain. They roll out onto the circuit Ricardo Tormo once again. 4 kilometres of track, just under 2.5 miles, so even though it's wildly different in shape from the super speedway, the likes of Daytona or Indianapolis, it is actually about the same length of circuit, so there's a fun oval fact for you, I suppose. There's the 54 car, Gianmarco Ercoli, once again right at the front of the queue. He's eager to get himself to the very sharp end of this grid for race 1. We'll see whether he can do it. Certainly, we wouldn't doubt Ercoli. I'd also keep my eyes once again on Tobias Downhauer. There he is. And also just hearing regarding some of the cars that went missing in qualifying. Vittorio Garelli's 36, not only motorsport car, no visible damage there, and also no visible damage for Thomas Chrysonis. So 2 drivers who went missing in that qualifying session. Fortunately with no visible damage, so hopefully no issues under the skin of the car either, but at least in the first instance they weren't shown a barrier at a high velocity. We saw there briefly the number 50 car, the Hendricks Motorsport machine, Tobias Downhauer. As we alluded to, twice a runner-up in EuroNASCAR 2, he will be so eager to try and better himself now that he's in EuroNASCAR Pro. Well, in that qualifying session, he was the fastest driver out there. Let's see what he can do in this one, I suppose. Here you see the 46 car of Roman Iannetta. Roman, who has raced Le Mans 24 Hours on several occasions, has been involved with EuroNASCAR intermittently as far back as 2012. Has been racing since the turn of the century. A long, varied career to this point. Had a go at GTs, had a go at prototypes. And he's been a firm part of the fold in EuroNASCAR for many seasons now. Also, of course, wearing one of the more famous liveries. I'm not going to get my quotes out from Tom Cruise until a little bit later in the broadcast. There's the 56 car. Just powering out of the final turn. Nicola Rocca debuted in EuroNASCAR back in 2014, but he's just 28 years old. Managed to get 3rd in the championship in 2019 and was 4th in the championship last year. So keep an eye on Nicola Rocca, who has, as of now, got the benchmark. So Rocca in the 56, a 141.948 is the fastest of the first flying laps that we've seen. Now, I believe just about everyone will take the checkered flag this time by, because we've got less than a minute on the clock, 45 seconds left on the clock. Heading down, huge braking. This could be a good overtaking opportunity as well. We see some physical moves made here, season on season in EuroNASCAR. Keep an eye on turn 8. Keep an eye on Gianmarco Ercoli as well. Had a good first sector. No, oh yeah, no, he does improve in sector split 2 as well. I thought for a minute he hadn't, but that is an improvement. Rounding turn 13 now. A real test of the tyres. Asking the front axle for as much as they dare. The checkered flag has gone out now, so this is everyone's last chance saloon. Let's see what kind of time this is for Coley. A 1:42.094, not an improvement. Does anyone else go quicker? Yes, Nicola Roca. Oh, and Patrick Lemery goes to a 1:41.715. Alexander Graf was purple in the first sector. He's got a 1:41.803. Is anyone else going to improve? It doesn't look like they will. And in fact, Patrick Lemery just dropped down to the very back of the order. I think he just had a lap time deleted. Okay, interesting. So then, as the timing screen shakes out here, it is Alexander Graf in the 64 car at the top of the timing sheets. You see there the side exhaust spitting. A 1:41.803, the time that he set. Very good lap. And Graf in that number 64 car, entered by Speedhouse, has just topped Superpole here at Valencia. That's huge for him. Over 20 years of racing experience, largely in Scandinavia, but has been in EuroNASCAR for a while. And so there you see the graphic, Graf on top. Nicola Roca second fastest with a 1:41.908. Gianmarco Ercole and Tobias Downhauer, the top four. And Mark Goossens rounding out the top five. He'll be looking to make up some positions as well. So, top seven in that session within a second as well. It would have been 8, of course, if Patrick Lemery's time stood. Guessing he will have been flagged for track limits. That tends to be the reason a lap time gets deleted. But certainly Downhauer with a top 5, so his father's prediction or his father's expectation has been met in Superpole. A second row start for Downhauer, that should be handy. He can definitely challenge for a podium, if not a win, from 4th place. There's a Speedhouse 64 car in. Alexander Graf will receive pats on the back and plaudits from all. So those cars, the top 10 that came out in Superpole, now being readied up for, largely, for EuroNASCAR 2. Their qualifying session set to get underway in just a few minutes as well. So Graf, by just over a tenth of a second, is our pole sitter for this session. Be interested to see what that drag race looks like when we go racing between Roca and Graf. The Swede, though, is the fastest of all, at least for now. Lots to come, though, from pretty much everyone on the grid. I was rather surprised to see that Alan Day wasn't in that session. He did improve up to 4th place, but I'm guessing his lap time must have got deleted as well, actually. His 24 car should have been out there. I'm guessing they deleted that time just after the session. Again, they do take track limits seriously, and so they should. I'm guessing Alan Day fell foul of those, because we were expecting to see him right up there in the session after a buzzer-beating final lap. And so, of the many characters in this EuroNASCAR paddock, one of the newer pairings that we have is the Kolek sisters, with plenty of experience in trucks and GTs and much more besides. They may move into EuroNASCAR this year, and we heard from them in the build to this weekend's action.
Gonna be my first time here in Valencia, and it's my first EuroNASCAR race weekend, so I'm very excited.
My first time in Valencia also, and so far I like the track, and it's also my first time doing a weekend with EuroNASCAR. The most interesting corner personally is turn 12. It's apparently the corner where there's the most crashes, which is understandable with the big sausage. You can feel the vibe. You can feel the vibe is just off there. And it's not a corner that I enjoy so much.
The final corner also, the turn 14, the brake zone on the downhill, and there I'm struggling to get it right because I'm still learning. I improved today, but there my confidence is still not 100%.
The first corner is also a tricky one. There you carry quite a bit of speed when you're really going for it, and yeah, I enjoy that corner, but the more action you get is in turn 2, because after that corner you go straight for overtaking or dive bomb.
The first corner, I also struggle there a little bit to get the proper radius and speed, because there's track limits, so it's hard to stay in track and not go over the line.
I was watching a lot of the races from last year, and some races were quite hectic. But to be in it and to be in the sort of chaos of it, it will be really fun, and to put your elbows out to fight with the other guys, I think it's a great way to learn and to improve your racing, and yeah, it's also very fun, I assume, so I'm excited for it.
I'm really looking forward to meet the fans here in Spain. It's hopefully it's gonna be a lot of people to come and watch, and I'm looking forward to meet everyone and maybe teach me some Spanish because it's not so good.
It's gonna be fun to see everyone and their families here, so yeah.
Hasta mañana.
Hasta mañana.
Can you do the scream again that you did when you got out of the car? Wow! Made a pole position in NASCAR Pro. It was a very thrilling qualifying session with Patrick Lemery on top, but his lap time got deleted. No, you're on pole position for the first race of the season.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's a comeback for me in EuroNASCAR. It's my brother's birthday today, so he's got a little bit of a present here. So it starts very well. I didn't know I was on pole before I got into the pit here. I heard Lucas said P1 or something like that, and I was like, no. But everyone was really happy in the pit box, so that's amazing. That's amazing. Thanks to all the guys in Speedhouse. They have done an amazing job with the car.
You said it. It's the first race of the season. You already set the championship is your goal, and now you're on pole position. What's your strategy for the race later?
Well, I couldn't start better, actually. I learned a couple of things yesterday in the testing that I need to improve in my driving style in the car, so I tried to adapt it under the qualification. It went well.
Also, your first year with Speedhouse and Luca Lasser. How does it feel to be in that team?
Yeah, it's amazing. They are Frenchmen, so I don't understand them, but we work very well together. No, I like it. I mean, me and Lucas he's one of the oldest friends in EuroNASCAR for me, so it's amazing to be with the team. It's really familiar and so on. So I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, then. Yeah, congratulations, and we see each other later on the grid.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks. See you guys.
flying laps come in. There's Alberto NASCAR. Almost named for the sport, isn't he, in the 88 car? Oh, a bit of oversteer and understeer all at once there, or I should say, the car both tight and loose, seemingly, at turn 6. Seesawing at the wheel. Yeah, certainly not a smooth lap this, but it could be a quick lap. Manhandling is very much a valid approach in EuroNASCAR. Up the inside of the number 8 he goes. The 8 car is, I think, still on an out lap. Here comes the 88 around the long, sweeping turn 13. Onto the brakes and out of 14 with a big sideways moment there. Well, certainly Alberto NASCAR is brilliant fun to watch. Let's see what his lap times are looking like. His first time is a 1:44.324. So that's the benchmark. The first driver across the line to set a flying lap. Let's see if anyone else can improve upon that. There's the number 23. Tempted to call that as Bubba Wallace, but it's not. We're on the wrong continent. 23 car of Levy into Canto. Turning 3, 4 and 5 at the moment. Still the fastest time of anybody, the Rookie Cup or Rookie Trophy runner, Alberto NASCAR. Ulysse Delso in the number 3 car is the closest challenger, just on 3/10 back from NASCAR. We've also just had a good time in from Christian Malcharek in the 24, but it's the 23 that we look at now, down in 7th place. After those first flying laps, we'll see whether we can see an improvement out of Levy. Pops the curb at T12. We heard the Kolek sisters rather bemoaning the camber there at turn 12. It is certainly a corner that can catch you out. Oh, a look up the inside there. A bit unconventional in qualifying, but the 65 car on a hurry up from Roberto Benedetti. Benedetti across the line. Let's see what kind of time he's put in. Benedetti, I don't think he improved, and he did actually, a 1:46.402. Pounding the back of the 8 car there. Among the drivers I expect to see at the sharp end, I'd suggest that Michael Bleekemolen should be one of them. Ulysse Delso, I'd say, also a hot favourite, but at the moment, Alberto NASCAR at the sharp end improved again last time, a 1:42.874, and just went purple in the first sector again. Even though the graphic on your screen says P2, Leonardo Colavita has actually just beaten the time out of the number 3 car, as have several drivers, as a matter of fact. So we've had a lot of improvements in the last few moments. Leonardo Colavita's gone second fastest in the 47. Liam Hasemans in the number 50 has gone third. Christian Malcharek in 4th in the 24 car. Jel Lindster in 5th place. And Ulysse Delso in 6th place. Just hearing in my ears that Lucas Lure giving the feedback that traffic is key in this qualifying session, and that's most certainly the case with over 30 cars in this qualifying session. Over 2.5 miles. It's not the biggest circuit we visit all year. A lot of the circuits we run in EuroNASCAR you could very much call bull rings. I think no more so than Brands Hatch Indy next month. will say as well of Leonardo Colavita, just 16 years old, debuted at Grobnik last year, the youngest driver in EuroNASCAR history. Took to the circuit just 3 days after his 16th birthday, and received some support from JTG Archery Racing as well, so he's got some support from across the pond. And we'll see how his season develops. There's Liam Hazemans. And the 89 car has come to a halt out on circuit. That's Alberto Panabianco. Fortunately, the driver that's currently 22nd on the timing screen, unlikely to make any further improvements. Alberto Nasca, still the fastest driver out there. He's improved again to a 1:42.457. Lap times keep coming in hot. There's that number 38 car. Teo Calvet at the wheel of that. Teo getting the last minute call up because Salim Salim Pollock having some issues. After a crash at Spa. Just the one of the Pollock family taking the wheel, and it's Alia Pollock who does so. She's currently 14th, 15th fastest in the session at this stage. Here's the number 7 car of Martin Dubeck. We saw him out already once. He's got a few laps under his belt this morning. That could be helpful. Certainly hindered his run through turn 12 there with some traffic. Didn't quite get to minimise the angle of the corner as much as he would have liked to. And you see there what Lucas Lur has fed back to our pit crew, that the traffic is certainly a key factor. Expect Lucas to get quicker and quicker as the year goes on, but that qualifying session not ideal for him. Driver with exceptional racecraft. We'll have to see how he makes up positions in EuroNASCAR Pro, but we continue to follow this EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying at the moment. Patrick Schober, we just saw in the 27, currently 15th fastest. Timing screen in flux almost constantly at the moment. Blue times coming in. If you're following on with the timing as well, the blue times mean a personal best. The purples, of course, the very fastest, and one driver who's got a purple sector at the moment is the number 5, Vlad Ziortis, I should say. And there's Sokolovsky in the 48 car. A bit of a homage to the Gulf oil colours on that thing. Ukrainian driver in the 48 car, currently 8th fastest. He runs first among those competing for the Legend Trophy as well. Sokolovsky has been plying his trade and putting his energy into EuroNASCAR for quite a while. Has spent 2 years pulling double duty in both the Pro and 2 classes. Is also the Belgian Endurance Touring Car champion as it stands, having had a very good 2021. And even an Audi RS3 TCR car. Before that, he was a German motorcycle competitor in the various IDM series, the German superbikes and their support classes. Hopefully grab his ear and ask him about the fabulous Schleizer-Drake circuit in Germany in the not too distant future. If you don't know, look up an onboard after this session. Fabulous place to watch racing. So then, we said that the number 5 car of Ziortis was going faster, and sure enough, a green lap, or a personal best lap, a 1:42.686 has put him second fastest, behind only the very spectacular Alberto NASCAR. Diortzis round the final corner, powering down the main straight now. Let's see what kind of time he puts in. That lap, nothing like as quick, a 1:47.647. I imagine that lap was abandoned courtesy of some traffic or some kind of error. 6 minutes and 50 seconds of the session left to run then. Already almost 3/4 of the way there. And actually, it was a bit late coming onto my timing screen, but the number 5 car of Vladimiros Diortzis has actually gone fastest, so 1:42.288. Okay, on my timing screen I didn't get a registered improvement for a while, but the number 5 car has actually gone top. Amazing. So Vladimiros, it did look like he was attacking. I was very surprised when it registered on my screen as a 1:47, but it's now 1:42.288 attributed to his name. Fastest by just under 2/10. So Vladimiros goes top. We'll see whether anyone else can challenge. Let's see what Alberto NASCAR's response is. Judging on the driving we've seen from him so far, it will be exuberant. He's currently got a personal best in Sector 1. Vladimiros, meanwhile, has gone fastest in Sector 1 and personal best in Sector 2, so I think the number 5 car is about to go quicker still. NASCAR with a couple of tenths to find over Diortzis. NASCAR in the 88. Turns into the final corner. Car fighting him every inch of the way. Lap was not an improvement from Vladimiros, so the time remains a 1:42.288 to beat. Looked like good sectors all round from NASCAR, but not an improvement. So NASCAR remains 0.169 of a second back from our pole sitter. Martin Dubek has improved to a 1:42.591 elsewhere on circuit, but here is the number 5 car. Diortzis in P1 for now, knocking on the door of a 1:41 as well. We saw from the EuroNASCAR Pro running that if you're anywhere near a 1:41, you're doing well. Diortzis there was a bit far removed from the apex at turn 8, but he'll continue finding a way, I'm sure, to improve on his time should he need to. The other drivers have just over 4 minutes of session left to try and challenge here. Just over 4 minutes to find whatever little extra Vladimiros has out there on circuit. He's running the FJ body rather than any of the manufacturer ones, but doesn't make any difference to the car that's underneath. A fabulous noise these cars make as well. These little small block V8 motors. Developing around about 400 brake horsepower. So many drivers of renown join in and enjoy these cars for riots that they are. Of course, we had Jacques Villeneuve taking a win last year in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in EuroNASCAR Pro. He then ended up joining Team Hazeberg in the Daytona 500 last year, or this year I should say. Great to see the number 27 in the Daytona 500, and we hope we'll see him back at some point in the future. There's the number 69 car of Melvin de Groot. He's one of the drivers running in the Legend Trophy classification, currently the second of them actually, 13th overall. Best time is a 1:44.3, so he's about 2.3 seconds off pole at the moment. Ziortzis has improved to a 141.997 incidentally, so he's managed to get himself under the 142s. That'd be good enough for the, I think, the first 3 rows in Pro as well. So Vladimiros really doing really well here in that number 5 car. 2 minutes of the session left to run. Tipping into the final corner is that number 69 car. Prominent hacking from raceplanet.netherlands. Let's see if the 69 moves up the order from 14th. In fact, I think that 14th place is the improvement that he's just had, a 144.298. Here's Martin Dubek. Dubek not been as quick on the last couple of laps, and to my eye, I'm not sure whether he's quite flat out on this one either. No, he's lost a good couple of seconds in that middle split, so this lap doesn't look to be a fast one. With 1 minute and 15 on the board, he's only got one more opportunity at a flyer as well, and around the outside there goes the number 38 car. Pero Calve there, hanging it all out on the line. Across the line they come. Looked to me like Dubek went into the pit lane there. There is Alberto Nasca, the driver who set the early benchmark in the session and was very enjoyable to watch on his flying lap as well. He's got 40 seconds of the session left to go. It's going to be touch and go whether he gets another lap in, but I think the checkered flag is just about going to wave before he can get the flag. Of course, if you cross the line before the clock hits 0, you can finish that lap, but I don't think he's quite going to get around fast enough. This could be the last opportunity for Alberto Nasca. Oh, he took a lot of the curve at turn 12. Goodness me, he was inches away from the gravel there. He's trying to find half a second, and unfortunately he's found the runoff at turn 14. And the clock has now hit 0, so he's seen the checkered flag in the distance and he's got into the pits. NASCAR is going to hope that we don't get many significant improvements here. NASCAR will be desperately hoping that he can hold on to his front row. Vlad Ziortzis heading through turn 5 and 6 at the moment. Tips it into 6 now. Short back straight in inverted commas is interrupted by this kink at turn 7, then you're immediately on the brakes for turn 8. You see the flag waving, and oh, again wide. That seems to just be his line actually. Vladimiros, it looks counterintuitive, but it seems to work for him, although I think he has backed out of the lap now by the looks of it. I think the roar of the engine has firmly become a burble. And sure enough, yes, he has completely lifted out of that lap. So, as it stands, Vladimiros will be our pole sitter, but we're waiting to see if anyone improves. We've got a few blue laps further down the order. Francesco Garisto, sorry, and the number 17 car, he's gone a bit quicker to go 13th on the standings, but by and large, most of the top contenders are already in the pit lane. And the likes of Ulis Del So don't look like they're going to be improving anytime soon. I think just about everybody who's out there still on circuit is on an in-lap. So, the car rolling down the Valencia tarmac on your screen should be our EuroNASCAR 2 pole sitter heading into the first race of the season. Vladimiros Ziortzis with a 141.997, just about got below the 142s, the only driver in the session to do so. One of only a few across both EuroNASCAR qualifying sessions to get that far down the order, or rather to get that fast, to break the 142 barrier. Not many got below a 142, even in EuroNASCAR Pro. There's the 64 car rolling back in. Of course, that was the car that was pole sitter in EuroNASCAR Pro with Alexander Graf. Here in the EuroNASCAR 2, Eric Quintal only managing 25th fastest. Pace of one class's entry is by no means an indication of the other. It's the exact same car that Alexander Graf will have just driven. But the order in the two different classes is in fact wildly different. Qualifying is always a good indicator of that. Alberto Nasca will be second fastest. That's the number 4 car. That's Yannick Panagiotis, who I believe is running in both EuroNASCAR and EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro. Part of a rallying family is Yannick. Has recently plied his trade in WRC 2 and the RGT Trophy. Also did the Dakar, the classic Dakar with Team FJ and his wife Valerie over the winter. Is now back on terra firma, back on the tarmac in EuroNASCAR, and will line up 24th for this EuroNASCAR 2 race this afternoon at the circuit Ricardo Tormo. So that's all the rubber laid down from the Hoosier tyres. The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series has had its first qualifying session of the year. We saw Alexander Graf top it earlier on, and Vladimiros Ziortis topping this second session of qualifying, this EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying session, topped by the number 5 car. I'm sure he will be celebrating moderately. Can't do too much celebrating before a race in the afternoon, I grant you, but I'm sure if he can continue that form, he'll be delighted. I believe we will hear from Vladimiros in the not too distant future. Reminder of the order from that session: Vladimiros Ziortis at the top, Alberto Nasca a couple of, well, almost half a second back in the 88 for second, Martin Dubeck and Gil Linster in third and fourth. Fifth place, Ulis Delso and Leonardo Colavita rounding out the top 6 ahead of Liam Hazemans and Alfredo Di Matteo. The top 10 rounded out by Christian Maltarek and Francesco Garisto. And there is the number 54 car, the distinctive pink machine, resting after its run with Luli Del Castello. She was second among the lady class, the ladies' trophy. Alia Koluk just beat her to it, actually. It will be an all-female 9th row of the grid. They'll be starting 17th and 18th in EuroNASCAR 2. Great to see them running close together. So they'll be fighting for the ladies' trophy pretty much as one later. Alina Leubneger and Ariana Cassoli in 26th and 30th as well. So Alina and Ariana will be very close together on track as well, down towards the back of the order. So good to see a good few ladies' trophy drivers together. Leubneger and Cassoli, we expect them to be fighting for the lady trophy a little further down the order, but keep an eye on Alia Koluk and Luli Del Castello when we go racing later on this afternoon. Also interested to see how Liam Hazemans does. And I understand we are now waiting with our pole sitter, so let's throw down to the driver of the number 5, a very happy Vladimiros Ziortis.
Vladimir's second career pole in EuroNASCAR 2, and it was an amazing lap against Alberto Nasca, who was leading the qualifying in the early stages, and then you came with that phenomenal lap. What the hell happened there?
Yeah, first of all, it's my lovely track, so I was expecting that we will have a good lap. So we put everything together this weekend. We are going well until now. Okay, the real battle is in the races. So I am positive for it. We are fast. We work hard with the team in the last pre-season test in Cremona and Magione. So we are in a good way, and I am happy for all of the members of the team that work so hard to be today here.
And we see also your teammate very fast in EuroNASCAR Pro. So what was the key to find the right setup here at that track?
Yeah, with Patrick we have similar needs of the car. So we work hard in the last two pre-season tests. We have the same feelings in the car, so this is the most important for a driver who shares the car to have a good teammate such as Patrick.
Last question, what are your strategies starting this race from the front row?
Of course, to start very well at the beginning and to keep going with good stability during the laps, which is the most important during the races.
All right, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thanks.
Massive congratulations to Vladimiros on a fabulous qualifying session. We must also nod again to Alexander Graf, who took pole in EuroNASCAR Pro. Happy faces all round. You heard Vladimiros say it, this is my lovely track. Well, we'll see how he feels when he leads a train of 30 EuroNASCARs down to the first corner in the first EuroNASCAR 2 race later on this afternoon. We will be back racing again this afternoon. I think we can get the times up as well before the end of the broadcast to show exactly when we go racing. But it will be 2 races today, 1 each for EuroNASCAR and EuroNASCAR 2, EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. And there you see the 13:05 Central European time for EuroNASCAR Pro's first race, and then it'll be an evening affair for the EuroNASCAR 2 class at 5 to 5, 16:55 Central European Summer Time. If you're watching in the UK, that will of course be 12 and 3 respectively, and you can convert to your local time as applicable. But we hope you join us again for the pair of races later this afternoon. It's been a great qualifying session, an outlier of what looks like a very competitive grid in both classes, EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 in Euro 22, in EuroNASCAR. But let's see. The qualifying only tells us so much. The racing is where it really counts. And we've got 2 races to come this afternoon. Make sure you join us. But for now, from Valencia, it's farewell, and we'll catch you later.